So that brings up the part of the episode that we all love.
The discussion.
That's when people tune out.
Oh, yeah, right there. We lose like half of our
shit.
listenership.
God, they're doing the Waylon Jennings thing again.
So it's our tribute to Merle Haggard. Rest in peace, Merle.
So discuss. The topic I've written down, which is one you relayed to me in a crowded, loud Mexican restaurant, was we should do half-step console iterations.
And that's what it sounded like in a loud Mexican restaurant.
And I said, yeah. And we should. So what do we know about that?
Well, apparently they're happening. That's what we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least two.
Now, when you say apparently they're happening, or do you mean like in 2016?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we'll hear some about it at E3.
For sure.
I'm really surprised, first of all, that this is even being discussed among the console manufacturers. This is weird.
It is weird.
But I'm trying to keep an open mind about it. There's a couple of things I have big problems with it. Mm-hmm. But so, story so far is there is some rumored specs and rumored listings of what people are calling a PlayStation 4.5 or PlayStation 4K. Mm-hmm. And so everyone was like, hey, is this actually a thing? And then Phil Spencer came out and was like, well, we're looking into maybe some like modular upgrades. I mean, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but
right.
Looking into modular upgrades for your Xbox One.
And he also had a stance that they wanted to go a full step and not a half step.
Right. So he's not like an Xbox 1.5.
But it still sounds like it might happen.
Right. I guess what he's saying is, you could extrapolate from what he's saying to mean that we're not going to give you an Xbox 1.5. We're going to give you pieces and you can do stuff with it, which is interesting. And
it is interesting.
It makes sense. Because honestly, like the console cycle thing, it doesn't really work anymore. Like, I don't think there could be another Xbox 360 that runs 10 years. I don't think.
Not the way it's... Not under the current culture or way that we've been doing it. It would have to be done differently.
Right. Technology is iterating much quicker now. You look at, obviously, the easiest comparison is like the mobile phone space, right? There's a new model of an iPhone every year, 6 months. There's a new version of it.
Right. Which bogs me down.
For sure.
I don't know if people actually like that. I think we like newness, but I don't think we like when you get something new that it's outdated so quickly.
Right. And that's the beauty of a console.
Yeah.
Is that once you've bought it, it's it.
For some time.
Yeah. For, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
That's your investment and that's what you do. It's really, I think all of this comes down to like, if there is a PlayStation 4.5 or Neo or whatever they're calling it, which, the spec sheet is already apparently leaked and it is just an iterative advance. It's not a full...
Right. It would still play PS4 games.
And spec-wise, it's not... it's obviously an improvement, but it's not like, oh my God, this thing is even crazier than we could imagine. It's like the RAM is faster, the hard drive's bigger, the processor overclocked. It's not, not a huge upgrade. I think the success of it, in my opinion, is going to be how they deliver it.
Or, if it has all these capabilities and you have to develop for it, our developers, it seems like a nuisance to, like, shit, now we have to develop for, technically, 4 consoles almost, if not 5 if you consider the NX, because if we make a game that's only in 4K, well, you're isolating a big chunk of the population that's not going to make that iterative upgrade. So there's going to have to be, your HD or whatever we're calling this current generation version of it, and a 4K version, assuming that that's what the Xbox 1.5 will have. Mm-hmm. And then the NX will probably,
rumors are it'll do 4K streaming, but output 900p natively for games.
Which is strange.
Weird.
Yeah. And I don't want to jump ahead, but maybe it's good to put this in here, is this going to be another case of Nintendo releasing a console behind everybody else?
It's almost like everyone wants Nintendo to fail. It's like, look, guys, they're catching up. Let's jump ahead, even if it costs us.
Yeah, that's what it kind of seems like. It's kind of, I don't know, kind of sad in a way, because I really do want Nintendo to succeed with this NX. I think if people don't want NX to succeed, or Nintendo to succeed, and you're only pulling for your fanboy console, like You're wishing away competition that's made this so good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The weirdest thing to me is PlayStation 4 is on pace to be one of the best-selling consoles of all time.
Was it at 40 million right now? Something like
Close.
that? Yeah. And that's worldwide, so it's blowing Xbox. It would beat Xbox anyway, probably.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Oh, yeah. I think there's been 20 million
Yeah.
Xbox Ones shipped, like not even sold.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Which, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like we've said, I mean, international territories have never bode well for Xbox. They're
boned well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the interesting thing is just they're so far ahead and they're doing so well, and everybody loves the PS4 so much.
Right.
Why change it? Why go back and potentially just fuck this up?
Yeah, I think I can see where they're coming from. I can give them. There are three reasons I think that they think this is a good idea.
Number one.
One is that I think obviously the NX is their rival probably overseas, and they see this coming out and they're like,
okay,
right, let's go head to head with this. We
Okay.
can, and we can probably win because Nintendo's kind of flailing in
Right.
water right now. So we could
They're
do
not
that.
they're not operating from a place of strength. It's more desperation.
Yes.
Sony could move from strength.
Exactly.
Yes.
Two is Sony is a TV manufacturer.
Mhm.
They manufacture 4K televisions.
Sure they do.
They probably want you to play their hardware on their TV.
Sounds right.
So, hey, let's do this.
They're really finicky about like that remote play being on their Sony Xperia phones and nothing else.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they like to keep it in the ecosystem.
Yes. And that makes sense. I don't blame them for that.
Sure.
And three, their VR unit is coming out.
Right.
And being able to support that at, whatever processing power is necessary for it to not be a failure for certain people. If you didn't want to upgrade and you have the VR, they can always say, well, if you get this, it will work.
Right. Or work better.
So there's always that kind of cop out for whatever other accessories they push out. So those are three really good reasons where this makes great sense for Nintendo. Or I'm sorry, for Sony.
Yeah. I think that eventually this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. It feels too soon, though.
But would it never?
Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing. I think they're just going to kind of, how Windows or Microsoft or Android or Apple or whoever, once they reach a certain point, they, I guess, sunset support for things. And they're like, look, we're not going to support that anymore. This is our direction that we're going.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't adopt the new stuff, sorry, we just can't help you. Like, I think that's probably the approach that will have to be taken if you move to this sort of iterative console design. Will there ever be a PS5?
I think so.
Shuhei Yoshida said, maybe.
Maybe, right. And
more of a if than a when.
I think Phil Spencer's kind of had the same sentiment about the next iteration. But the thing, and at first when I heard that Phil Spencer had said, we want to do a modular upgrade, we don't want this iterative thing, because I think it does muddy things up quite a bit.
It's going to be a nightmare, because the beauty of developing for consoles is you have a unified static architecture that this is what we're working with, let's maximize it.
Yeah, and even from a consumer standpoint, when I buy a game, I don't have to check the requirements. I'm going to put it in this box that has the same color on it,
and it works.
It's going to work every single time.
Yep.
So the consoles are perfect for the lowest common denominator of folk, which is why I love it so much.
I like couches and consoles.
While I love my PC, it's sometimes a hassle to be like, will my video card support this? Does my RAM support this? How much does it need? How much of this does it need?
And I'm such a switch flicker. Like, as soon as I load a PC game, I'm like, all right, let me maximize the settings and check the frame rate, and let's adjust this and adjust that. And I don't even play the game. I just play the graphic settings. Like, I'm so bad at that.
Yeah.
Which is why I game on console.
And I've never really had a PC that was, for a time being mine was, but it's gone downhill since. And I've never cared to keep it on the cutting edge, because it's an expensive thing to do, really. I mean,
it's an expensive hobby.
But if you move these modular things, two things kind of worry me. One is that it does kind of turn into that. It's like, now I bought this game for my grandson, but he can't play it. Now he's going to have to buy this, special video card. And then will Microsoft allow competition for that, for those modular components? So if they give you a video card,
Mad Cat support.
Are they going to chokehold it and make it, $80, tack on the price to it just because it's theirs? And you want to upgrade, but it's like, man, I got to pay Microsoft's
now there is
money. Like, you remember what they did with the hard drives for the 360?
I do.
That
Stupid.
Crazy.
There is something that's popped into my mind just now, though, which everyone that's listening, well, always, but there is something that popped into my mind that most of the listeners were like, there's a precedent for this. There's a precedent for this. And it makes me wonder if this approach would not work beautifully. Expansion pack for the N64, right? It was a modular upgrade that a lot of games, were enhanced by and a few required.
Right. Quite a few required.
So,
at the end.
And how did they deliver that? You bought whatever game supported it, and like the flagship release for that upgrade included the upgrade within.
Was it Donkey Kong?
I think it was Donkey Kong. I think the Rumble Pack was Star Fox, if I'm not badly mistaken. And then thereafter, I think it was Donkey Kong, but I can't remember. So if they do something like that, I don't think they will, because subsidizing the cost of a hardware upgrade, people have moved away from that, phone providers and everybody. But, I mean, this kind of has happened.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of.
It's happened before. Like, when you mentioned that, I didn't think of the N64. The first thing I thought of was how the ecosystem for the Sega Genesis 32X and Sega CD worked, where they just kept piling it on.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing, really. It's just the way that they had to do it then. It got really ugly fast. I think we'd be a little bit better about space in this day and age. I don't know now and I haven't flipped my Xbox One over and over to check it out. It's been kind of stuck in the shelf since I unpacked it. Are there ports for removing and adding things?
I mean, nothing to make it out other than like the standard, there's the HDMI and the optical and the USB 3.0 stuff. But, I mean, now they're making... I think Razer is making this external bay for graphics cards for your laptop that runs on USB 3.0.
That's right.
So, I mean, if that technology exists, presumably you could do the same for a console.
But the rumor is that AMDs have been, building these specific cards for three
new things, two of which were deliverable this year, and one which was pushed to 2017, according to their
POC. Can assume that's Microsoft based on just the heat of the rumors.
I mean, maybe. I mean, you could also consider that could be NX, because Nintendo really hasn't. I mean, there's more rumored specs and better sources for the Neo than there is for the NX at this point.
But there was that iron curtain around Nintendo headquarters,
right?
Also, I'm wondering if Nintendo could afford to wait any longer.
It could do them good.
It could do them good. Like if they see this 4K hype and some of the pushback about the resolution. Maybe it's like, let's see if we can beef it up a little bit more before we push it out, so that we're not, again, releasing behind everybody else. The other part of it is, like, the last big game you promised us met middling reviews. Everybody's chomping at the bit for a new Zelda that we presume will come out with your new console.
Right.
And so many other games, so many other things. It's, I don't know that they can afford it anymore without falling so far behind.
Yeah.
The world moves fast now, Nintendo.
It does. It does. Well, I mean, it's just fun to speculate about it. I didn't think we'd get to again so soon after 2013.
That's a bummer. I just bought my Xbox One in September. Like, it was maybe the second episode of this podcast I picked it up.
Yep.
And that's not been that long
now
ago.
There's potentially something new on the horizon.
And knowing my frugal nature and patience with hardware, it'll be probably when the PS5
2 years
comes
into
out.
his life cycle, yeah.
Yeah, but
I was going to say that the upside could be that you haven't purchased a PS4, maybe you'll get a PS4.5 instead of
or PS4s will be cheaper.
Well, they already are.
Because people will upgrade, and put theirs on Craigslist or whatever.
I was thinking in that process, like if they do a trade-in program,
that'd be smart.
It'd be smart, but man, the logistics on that would be stupid. Stupid.
True dat.
Stupid. All right,
that was a good episode.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Far Cry Primal.
Is the Far Cry Primal iteration
4.5?
refresh?
Far Cry 4.5 Primal.
Primal 5.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening and or watching. As always, you can follow us on Twitter. We're at Polykill Together. I am at Trav Plays Games.
I am at the
McAxel. We're also on Instagram now under the same pseudonyms. Yeah, same names.
Yeah, boy.
Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Polykill Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Please do that.
We need more.
I would love that so much.
So much.
Oh my goodness, that would make me so happy. Rate us on iTunes. Just go there, give us a few stars, give us what you think, give us what we're worth.
Give us a comment.
Comments are great. God,
we love them.
So much better than any star rating is just a comment. I don't even care if it's mean. And polykill.com. That's where you'll find some stuff.
All of our content.
All of our stuff. That's right.
Also, side note, those of you that are Android users, Google Play Music now natively gives you podcasts. So you can subscribe on a first-party app, just like it was iTunes on your iPhone. You don't have to go through a third party or download and transfer. You can just search Polykill on Google Play Music and boom, subscribe there. Get all the newest episodes. Tell your friends.
Yes, tell your friends. That's the last thing. Tell literally every one of your friends,
yes.
Even the ones you don't like.
That one guy that you went to high school with who'll still occasionally post something that you find funny and you like, but then he'll comment that you said something, but you won't reply because you don't really want to engage in conversation.
Tell him.
Tell him.
Tell him.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Peace.